Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 51 of FPL Apprentice, the only podcast and series which delves into the minds of one of the greatest players to ever played the game. I go through it every week. Don't need to go through it again. You all know Matt by now. Matt, how have you been? Appreciate neither of us had the best game week, which we'll come on to. But other than that, how are you?
No, good man. Good. Happy Monday evening. Are you watching the game? Or you like is your full attention
Full
on
attentions on
this good
this.
conversation?
On
Yeah,
this,
same,
on this.
same. I'm a
You
bit
usually,
interested, but
I'm sure somebody in the chat. I can see John's on. John is I'm hoping he'll keep it. If there's a goal, he's after a Kirkes hat trick from the looks of it.
yeah, I think we're all wishing something. I think I'm a Semenyo 4 goal haul away from a decent week. So we'll see.
That's
We'll
it.
see
That's
what
all we need.
happens.
That's all we need. The guy scores 4 goals for fun. He's like Cole Palmer. But yeah, not the best week from either of us. Which will. I may as well. I'll bring it up now. May as well bring that up. And Matt, you may see. Okay, I've tried to work on the slides a little bit. But yeah, feel free to jump us off. Game week 6.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people who wildcarded, poor week so far. So I've got 29 points, all in a 9 million game week rank with Semenyo left to go. So yeah, pretty poor. But honestly, kind of what happened in the games, I'm feeling okay. I'm quite like my team. Don't really have to go through the details of why I wildcarded. I think yeah, I had no Arsenal players and they have a really nice run. And I had a few teams that were kind of dead ending into kind of game week 6. So it was the obvious kind of game week to target for myself. And I don't really have too many regrets, really. I mean, my team at the moment looks like is Flecken, Trent, Gabriel, Saliba, Vandenberg, Greaves as the defenders and keepers. Got Fabianski as a sub keeper. Saka and Brumo, Luis Diaz, Semenyo, and Rogers is a midfield 5, and then forwards Solanke, Haaland, Calvert-Lewin. So I'm quite happy with the decisions. I think if I'm talking about regrets, Trent does look expensive. I mean, Liverpool were lucky to get so many clean sheets earlier on in the season, and the numbers they've plateaued a little bit the last couple of game weeks. They looked awesome first couple of game weeks. I think they're looking a bit average. Do you know what I mean for such an expensive player?
How
So
dare you?
yeah, I mean yeah. There's a gap between him and all the other defenders, right? So you need to get some good performances there. So I don't know if I'm getting like early nerves there, and they don't have the greatest of fixtures. So yeah, it's kind of like I'm looking at that one and thinking, could I have gone for Guardiola, who's got long-term great fixtures? Obviously he scored last game, which is a bit of bias there. But would I go for Guardiola or another City defender, Rico, kind of Lewis, and then recycle funds? Obviously, Raya was fit in the end, for kind of like Arsenal. So I went for Flecken as that cheap option. I could have done a bit of like I could have done the Flecken could have been Raya, and then Gabriel. No, kind of Saliba could have been. Yeah, you could be like a bit of a rotation with. I could have had a Rico Lewis and then Mikalenko as a bit of a rotating third defender. That could have been an option, but generally I'm pretty happy with my team. Really, I mean some of the big decisions. I went for Solanke over a Watkins or a Havertz. I'm really happy with Solanke. I think he's 2 goals in 2 game weeks, and like since game week 4 when he's come back from fitness, his stats have been through the roof. I think he's had the highest overall expected goal involvement, and I know the Spurs United game was influenced by the Bruno red card, sorry, but even before that, yeah, kind of Spurs looked really good, and Solanke was looking good as well. So I'm kind of really happy with Solanke. I'm happy, despite benching him, that I've got Rogers as a 5th midfielder rather than a 4th midfielder. So myself, like a lot of people, were rotating Semenyo and Rogers as that kind of like final attacker. Now I kind of made that bet because there's some up and down fixtures for kind of Villa, like broadly pretty decent, but some up and down fixtures. I didn't want to commit to having to play Rogers every single game week and have a weak 4.5 midfielder as backup, because I thought there could be a bit of a minutes risk, right, with Duran like coming on, and like this is the first week we've seen it, but he came on Rodgers wasn't injured and Duran came on after 60 minutes, right? So I think that could be an evolving theme. So yes, he got the goal. It wasn't a really convincing performance, but like I'm happy that I've got kind of Rodgers as that kind of rotating last attacker rather than like I'm stuck with him. So I like that flexibility I've got. I'm kind of happy. I'm happy with the team really. Kind of really happy to get rid of Bruno Fernandes, who obviously got kind of red carded.
I mean, I know I'm a Liverpool fan, but joke of a red card.
No,
by the
no,
way.
of course. But like, yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And like, obviously, on our chats, we always talk about underlying performance rather than the actual returns, which we feel like is the best indicators of future returns. But my team for an underlying performance did great. So like Gabriel and Saliba, double Arsenal defense, and they were expected goals conceded 0.2, the best they've had this season by far, right? And I think Gabriel had better expected goal involvement himself as an Arsenal defender compared to the whole Leicester team. Leicester scored 2 goals, right? Trent, again, he had like Liverpool had good underlying stats in terms of like kind of their defensive stuff. Saka, first game week of the season, he's blanked, but I think it was his from underlying stats his best performance. So another week that would have been a major haul. Solanke, he got 1 return, but probably did him a bit of a disservice. Like I like his fixtures, a really good game statistically as well. Calvert-Lewin was okay, right? I'm still happy to with him. It's just minutes and fitness really. I think on penalties and with a good run that returns will come. So I'm kind of really happy with my team overall. Obviously, it wasn't reflected in the points tonight. The difference between my pre-wildcard team, the main difference would have been Salah in there. I don't know if I would have captained Salah over Haaland, but let's say I went with Salah. I think that was a bang average performance, right? You can't really predict penalties, right? So I think he was fortunate to get that penalty, really, which turned into a 7-point goal that he had, because that caused the kind of like the bonus as well. But yeah, it was a poor performance from Salah kind of overall. So you won't always have the pens come through. And yeah, I mean, people have gone Palmer. I'd have loved Palmer, but I think the times we've gone for him is like game week 3 or game week 4 when Chelsea had that nice little run. He's got one more decent fixture, and then he's got some tough games, right? So I think that boat is passed almost, and it's hard to predict a player who's going to score four goals.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Brighton's. I don't know what Brighton's tactics were. I saw like the heat maps, like their defense was almost in line with the halfway line. It was so far forward, right? And I know his goals weren't from breakaways, but like showed the mentality Brighton were going into that game with, which was like attack at all costs, like without much consideration to defense. So Palmer's a great player, and he's had 4 attacking returns right twice in the season already. So that's something to keep an eye on. Like I thought underestimate them a little bit going into the season just because of like the management change and disruption at Chelsea. But yeah, like I'm sure he's on my radar as he is on a lot of people's. Like, but when the fixtures shift into Chelsea's favour, like game week 11 time, so I'm cool. You can't really predict these random hauls like that. So yeah, I'm kind of like I'm kind of cool with my team. Beyond, hey, would have been nice. Maybe like Trent maybe looks like a bit of a luxury. Would have been nice to have a Guardiola just because of the long-term City fixtures. Raya might have been more effective than Flecken in terms of value for money. But yeah, I'm most of my decisions I'm cool with. I'm quite happy with my team.
Nice. Well, you're a little bit more optimistic than I am, if I'm honest. So I can't help but look at my massive return of 31 points. I'm looking at it, right? Game week.
Beat me,
Game week 6. Yeah, by 2. Beat you by 2 thanks to Ada getting 2 and Saliba getting a 0. But a game week in which I've played a wild card and I'm currently game week around 8.5 million. I can't really see any much optimism. There is a few things. It's 1-0 Bournemouth, by the way, but the goal was Evan Nielsen. So that's good for your differentials, which we'll come to later on.
I think
not
that's a
that you
positive.
weren't already dominating.
I smashed out obscure players this week. That's for sure. I didn't say as well. Like Vandenberg is a positive, right? Third start.
Played.
In a row as a
Yeah.
4.0 defender, and he plays by far the best team out of all the 4.0s. So, like, I mean, there was a bit of a risk there, but you got to take that as a positive that Brentford played a weaker team, so had 3 at the back and a third start in succession. So, yeah, that's another positive, right?
Absolutely. The assist was Tavernier, by the way, just in case you were wondering. What a player! What a player! You know, you were giving me grief for picking him like in my in my differentials last week. But what a player! Any other week that would have got me the win. But yeah, the positives I've seen. I decided to back the Arsenal attack rather than the defence, so I went with Saka and Havertz with one Arsenal defender. I'm currently 6 points up on that. I would have ended up getting Saliba, not Raya, purely because of the injury news. So Saliba would have got a 0. Havertz has got 6. So that was a positive. Obviously, I brought in Mbumo. He picked up 9 points, probably in my replacement for Eze, so that was up. But yeah, the vast majority, I'm down. I worked it out. So I'm currently on 31 points with Semenyo playing now. So hopefully he'll do something. Without playing my wild card, I'd be on 45. So I need Semenyo just to get 14. That's all I'm asking. If he can get
No, yeah,
14
exactly.
points,
I
I'll
mean,
break even.
that's no difference at all, is it? Like, that's 15 points, and the wild card is for like 6-7 game weeks. So, like, I mean, whatever. Like, yeah, if you had Salah captain, it was a good week. If you had Palmer, it was an exceptional week. Other than that, it's all things around the edges. So, like, I think people really do.
That's it.
It's cliche, but people really do put like so much emphasis on a single game week, especially when they've used a chip. But whatever. Like, I mean, if my team had plays and everyone's underlying performance was shit, if Arsenal were defensively awful and like all my attackers like did nothing in terms of involvement, then I'd be like questioning myself. But still, I'm kind of really happy with mine. I mean, you should be happy as well. You've got Havertz, right? And he scored a goal in the 100th minute, right? So a little bit of fortune.
I
Then.
felt unlucky though. I felt unlucky. So a couple of things where I felt unlucky. Gabriel conceded 2, despite expected goal conceded of 0.32. So I felt that
No, it's just
unlucky there.
luck, isn't it? Like, I mean,
Trent only
people who've had Arsenal
yeah.
the first couple of game weeks, like they should have conceded quite a few goals, like, and they got what 4 clean sheets out of 5 game weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and this was their best performance defensively, right? So it just happens, right? This sort of
Conceded
luck
twice.
happens.
I felt Trent as well. He only conceded because of a Canate blunder. Saka didn't return, expected goal involvement of 1.08. Didn't get an attack of return. Did get a bonus point though, which was interesting.
What
And then
about
Havertz.
Edison? What about Edison being lucky to only concede 1?
Oh yeah, I was happy with that. I don't think about that one. But Edison, you're right. You've talked about Gvardiol, potentially wanting Gvardiol in your team for the long term, right? Edison, I wasn't expecting Edison to get a clean sheet away at Newcastle. He's here from game week 7 onwards. That's why I bought him in. But yeah, if you ignore that, and then Havertz 1 goal. And I agree. The ball got kicked at him in the 99th minute and went in. He had expected goal involvement of 1.93 in that game. So
Yeah, I'd say a
unlucky.
good proportion of that was from that kick.
The ball at him.
No, he had a good performance and deserved the return. To be fair, like, I mean, a realistic result would have probably been about 5-0 Arsenal. Like, that was a battering. It was like quite shocking that it was so close until 85 minutes plus. But yeah, this is just the nature of the game. I think for you and I, it's felt like a bit kind of unfortunate, probably for a year and a half now. But like generally, it works, right? If you look at these underlying performances, so yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I was worried about we can live it.
Yeah, that's why the episode's called "You Say Don't Panic."
No. I mean, I think people very like. I wonder how some people are in real life outside of FPL. Like, there's ever a bit of misfortune or something like that, or do you know, like anything that requires like patience. Like, if you're investing in something like stocks and shares, like what would people do?
Yeah, sell as soon as it drops. It's what is it? I mean, we're both ended up. Big red arrows. Unfortunately, Semenyo could still bag, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I've had enough of looking at last game week. Let's move on. Let's move on to I think it's our money league, and I don't really want to look at that because we're nowhere to be seen.
Miles off.
Yeah. So new leader. Oh no, not new leader. Jacob must have been there already. So Jacob's come in on 450 points. So what are we on? I'm on 381 and you're on 366. So yeah, a fair way in the lead. My mate Gary is coming into second place, which is pretty cool. Keep that up, Gaz. We're not even close to the top 10. We are way down. I usually look, but I got this. I couldn't be bothered looking after the scores we got. But wait, if we're in the top 30, I'll be surprised.
Right. Game week 38 is the only rank that matters. So
Exactly. Jacob, we've got our eyes on you, pal. But if you are listening, you're not in the league, and you do want to join, the code is on the screen, or it's T27ZGC. That's T27ZGC. We'll end up doing something for the winner, but it's going to be one on me and Matt, so it doesn't really matter. But enjoy it whilst you're there, Jacob. Enjoy it whilst you're there, pal. Fixture Ticker. Just thought, as we played the Wildcard, it'd be interesting to see who has some nice fixtures coming up. Potential where you might be seeing you're getting some transfers coming in. Everton are at the top. You've already got Calvert-Lewin. Have you got Mikolenko? I should.
No.
Think you have, do you?
What were these? I'm guessing they're from an attacking point of view, right?
They are indeed from an attacking point of view.
From our friends at Fix, yes. These are looking the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the next 6 game weeks in terms of attacking potential. But I think what it doesn't do right, that we always say, isn't it? It doesn't adjust for the strength of the attack itself, right? So, yeah, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool will always be near the top, right? Because there's better teams. So it doesn't. It looks at pure strength or weakness of the opponent. So yeah, Everton, cool. I'm kind of like great to see them next 6 game weeks top of the ticker. Happy with Calvert-Lewin. I think McNeil obviously got his brace. I think having 2 Everton players in attack is a bit excessive, but yeah, Calvert-Lewin, happy to have him in. And I think people who are like playing around with transfers, he's a good buy. Like that's a nice run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same goes for Manchester United, a bit of a weird one, right? I think their attack is unsettled. Their main player, Fernandez, is out. They might, speculation it, but might have a managerial change coming soon. I think I wouldn't be going there, given price points on uncertainty. Brentford, kind of another, like I think most people have gotten Bruno, but like that's for obvious reasons. Wolves, Ipswich, Bournemouth, all at home in the next 5, and they're United, Fulham away in between that. So that's an awesome run. And Bruno, must have if you don't have him already. Carvalho I was kind of like, I think both you and I toyed with him as a Rodgers alternative, but like I backed out because I was just minutes uncertainty. I was like, I don't know if that guy is going to play. Surprised to see him get another start and like an attacking return, but I think it's too early to go there unless you're playing around with like your bench player. Leicester, nice run for Leicester. I think it's hard to justify Vardy over Calvert-Lewin or even like a Wood, but like I think Mavrididi is an interesting 4th or 5th midfielder option. He started, he was benched at the beginning of the season. He started to have a run now. He's putting up some good stats. Ipswich are there. Who's there for Delap? Delap is scoring quite consistently. So if anyone wants a super cheap player, he's there. I think all the players, like I think like looking closer to the bottom there, West Ham have an okay run attacking point of view. I think the small amount of people who still got Bruno, I think Bowen is a really good shout to move to. West Ham have been bad, but that is because they've had really bad fixtures in the first 6 game weeks, right? It's been a tough run for them. So I think with the easier fixtures, you would expect them to show some form. And now no better time than now to get them in, really. So I think Bowen is a shout generally, especially for people moving away from Bruno Fernandes. So this resonates with my interpretation. And I think for both you and I, it's packed full of teams that we got in our forward line now. So it's good.
Bowen's an interesting one because he's a bit of a differential because we were both potentially going to get him in for the differentials for this week with him being there, but he is 5.4%. 2-0 to Bournemouth and Semenyo not involved again. John Stewart trying to make out like Kirk's got the assist. Didn't happen. That didn't happen. Dango got the goal and I think Lewis Cook got the assist. Semenyo assisted the assister. That's what we liked. That's what we like to see.
I mean, it's
So
going to go.
fixture,
It's going to go one of two. It's going to go one of maybe three ways, isn't it? Is that Semenyo being their most important player is going to get rested at
yeah,
half time. Southampton
yeah,
are going to have to go all out attack, and he's just going to catch them on the break, or it's going to be one of those like 4-5-0 hammerings, and like he's just going to keep
Ron.
assisting the assister.
Against the, let's. Yeah, it's going to be one of them. If it's
Yeah.
2-0 and he's yet to be involved already. On the ticker, right?
Kirkes, though.
I was good.
Kirkes is a blast from the past. I have to go back from him. Did
Yeah,
we both have him on a double game week last year, or was it just me?
I dodged him. It was just you.
Yeah, and he was benched for both the
Yeah,
double game week games. And then after that, you went on there for like an incredible run, starting every game outside of the double game week, assisting,
yeah.
scoring. Yeah.
I can't think how I ended up with instead, but I remember him. I remember vividly him not starting and thinking that I was probably happy because I was ahead of you at the time. So I was like, get in. On the fixtures, couple of things on it. Two really. Arsenal, yeah, you've got 3 Arsenal players. You're looking at those fixtures in game week 9, 10, and 11. Are you planning just to play them anyway? Play them through Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, or might you jump off one?
I think if you're playing around, game week 9 is the game week we jump off. Yeah, in my loose plans, I can see myself jumping off Saliba game week 9 for a. Well, look, you can see Southampton. That's Man City playing Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, right? Versus Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea. Jumping onto Vardiol or Rico Lewis for that run, that's like the perfect switch. So yeah, I think I'd be open for doing that move.
Nice. Yeah, I can see it. And then, well, my next point or question, sorry, was going to be: have you decided on a second City asset yet? Probably change that slightly to: have you thought of a second potential City attacker as well as Haaland?
No,
Waiting and seeing.
unless you can't count Lewis because he's been playing in midfield. But again, the next 3, I think I'd rather play Trent, Gabriel, and Saliba over Lewis, just with that uncertainty that comes with him. So like I'm kind of that was someone a team I deliberately overlooked in defence, but I think I was just like thinking I can wait until game week 9 where there's a real fixture swing to them versus Liverpool and Arsenal, and then I can just choose the best option. So attacking wise, it's tough. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking Savio would be the best one, but he was benched this week. So yeah, it's tough. I'm kind of happy to wait another 2 game weeks, and kind of make the right call.
Yeah, don't get it. I get it. Hang fire. Well, if the button works, should go on to talking about informed.
Mate.
Check out this slide. Hey, I've been working. I have been working today. Informed players rather than attackers. I generally find with FPL, most people sit on their defense and they sit on their goalkeeper, but they'll swap between the big premiums. So I've decided to bring a slide up looking at who the informed players are. And you always say, get the form, get the fixtures. So these are the big 4, right? They've Semenyo goal. I think Skip might be lying to me, by the way, but apparently Semenyo's scored. I did tell him to stop bringing us bad news, so I don't know whether he's doing that to take the mick, but one of us has to check in a sec.
I'll have a look.
Have a quick check, right?
Yeah, he's generally scored. Yeah, he's generally scored. Yeah.
As a get in, thanks, Skip. Appreciate you bringing us the good news.
No.
Yeah, VIR. Yeah, you finally got the good news. Thank you. So these are big 4. Now each of us only have one of these. I was very, very, very close to having Watkins. Couldn't afford him, which is why I ended up going to Havertz, and he had slightly better fixtures for the next few. Do any of these panic you not having them? Take out Haaland, obviously, but do you panic about not having Salah, Palmer, or Watkins? No. And why not?
I mean, what you can see across, Watkins is an interesting one. I think all of the other ones. Firstly, mate, well done on the graphic. Like, fair play. This is.
It's not bad.
Taking on the feedback, aren't you?
I think it's slightly better than usual.
look at this evolution. Like people can kind of see the vision and where we're heading in terms of direction. But yeah, it's interesting to see like the expected points and expected returns versus the actuals. Right, everyone's running hot, aren't they? Everyone. And I thought like
apart from Watkins.
Yeah, apart from Watkins, which is interesting because that suggests it's like sustainable. So I'm surprised at Haaland actually because I thought he was like running hot, but not as amazing as that. I thought Salah was like super lucky and Palmer super lucky, but yeah, they're only just they're kind of in line with like Haaland, so that's kind of quite surprising. Like, yeah, Watkins his returns look more sustainable, but just based on those expected points. But like, would I be worried in who would I not be worried owning? I'm just looking at the fixtures. Haaland, of course, like Fulham, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth. Salah. I think everyone else got mixed fixtures. Like, Palmer in particular has got hard fixtures, right?
Yeah, tough. Forest at home, we're going to come on to that because when we look at captain picks, I've thought people might, because of obviously scored 4 at the weekend, people might go to Palmer.
Yeah,
but
Watkins has a decent run to be fair, so he could do some damage for sure.
Looks awful after that though. It's part of the reason I stayed off him and I went for Havertz. And I'll just read them out because I think at home to United he could get a hat trick and I don't think anybody would be surprised. Away at Fulham, home to Bournemouth, then he is away at Tottenham, away at Liverpool, and away at Chelsea in the next 4.
Yeah, the short term. Yeah, I think Haaland's got by far the best fixtures, right? Which is why most people went for him as a single premium. I mean, everyone else's fixtures are mixed, right? So yeah, I'm not kind of worried particularly. I think it's really interesting looking at these expected points. Actually, I'm quite surprised. Like I thought Salah would be lagging because I owned him for the first 5 game weeks, and I thought he was incredibly lucky. But it's not too far off his expected points. Palmer's running hot for sure. Yeah, I think Watkins is probably the concern there, but I think Solanke will match him the next 4. Honestly,
yeah.
Just from what I've seen since he's returned in game week 4, I think Solanke has got every potential to match Watkins.
There's one for you on Palmer about running hot. This game week, his expected goal data was 2.2. So game week 1 to 5, he was on 0.95, and now he's on 3.15 after 1 game week. So shows you what one game can do in a small sample.
No, I'm glad you said that, mate. I thought you were going to say, he scored 4 goals from 2.2 goals. But anytime anyone scores a hat trick, they've overperformed expected goals. So it's not a great measure. But you're right. Before this game week, his stats were very good, but they weren't incredible, right? So yeah.
But I didn't want to just leave it at 4 players, right? I've got to go old school. I've got to bring in my screenshots like I always have in the past, and look at the top 10. Now you'll see Luis Diaz should actually be in the top 4 instead of Watkins. But I thought I've already got a Liverpool player in there, so I won't drop him in there as well. But yeah, Haaland's top, overperforming is on his points. Mbumo, who we've got, and I think a lot of people at Wildcard have got. John, who's in the chat, has captained him at least 2 game weeks this season. He's got 5 goals from expected goals of 1.76. He is majorly overperforming. Does that worry you?
I mean, no. I mean, those underlying, like his expected FPL points in 6 game weeks is 33, and he costs what, 7 million? 7. Yeah, so that's great, right? So, yeah, I think like looking at this, obviously, yeah, it's reassuring in some ways. I think we both heavily picked from this list, which is cool.
Yeah, I think I've got 4 of them. Have I got 4? Something like that. But of the ones that are in form and have the fixtures, Haaland and Mbumo, Saka, Havertz. I think of the 4 I've got.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, some of the trick is predicting the 4 minutes. So like Jackson and Palmer look really good here, but their fixtures are about to turn pretty rotten, right? So will they sustain it? I don't know. They'll probably do. They're both good players, right? So they'll probably sustain something, but probably not at that rate.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm still disappointed I didn't get Watkins. I know we were texting
I don't know why.
very close
Yeah, I
to the
don't know.
deadline.
I was disappointed that you didn't go for him.
It was money. It was all about the money. But Havertz should have delivered. He should have delivered more than he did. So I'm gonna give him the Southampton game at least, right? I can't take him out before Southampton are home.
Mm.
We'll see how he gets on. And he's not far back. You know, I say that he's 6 points behind unexpected points behind Watkins. So it is a little bit, but I'll give him the game.
Yeah.
Captain picks. I mentioned we'll come on to this like we do every week, and I think it's probably going to be between Haaland, Saka, Palmer, and that is who these stats as we say every week. Fantasy Football Fixer give us the details. Haaland 8.1. Now
I think he's a clear option, right?
Yeah, I like him. I like him, right? But I'm going to give an argument for Saka, like I did last week. And like last week, I'll probably have Saka as my captain until 10:45, and then I'll bottle it and I'll swap it to Haaland at the last minute, like I did. The reason, he's got Fulham at home. So Fulham's defensive data, expected clean sheets per 90. Sorry, expected goals conceded, should I say, per 90, 0.98. And away from home, it's 1.12. Southampton, on the other hand, expected to concede 2.04, and away from home, 3.03. We're not even at half time today, and they've conceded 3 away at Bournemouth.
No,
I can see Arsenal absolutely dominating that game. 4-0, 5-0. Whereas wouldn't surprise you if City beat Fulham 3-0, 4-0 either. I just think there's something in this Southampton defence that should be attacked.
No, it's worth it. Worth a consideration. I think probably Haaland is, by most models, will be, a bit of a gap between him and Saka. But I think, as you said, Southampton were very, very bad, right? So I think it's just the goal share in terms of like Saka, right? I think he'll always get goal involvement, right? Especially from assists.
Yeah.
Like, corners have been incredible, right? But Haaland will be hoovering up that goal share, right, in terms of scoring, right? So I think that's kind of what you want for those kind of big points. So yeah, I think Haaland probably just about edges it. I think Palmer, for me, isn't really a consideration. I know it's at home, but Forest are generally quite solid. So I think there's a fair gap between him and Haaland and Saka. And yeah, I wouldn't be considering the other options.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think Palmer, despite what he did, and you know me, man, I've always liked the Forest defence. So every week I spit out how Nuno keeps their defence very solid, and he's doing it again this season. Away from home, expected goals conceded per 90 of 0.95, and bear in mind they've gone to Anfield, so that's a hell of a stat.
You've got Eno on your team, haven't you?
I have.
You captain him.
Was a captain in them because of how solid their defence is. The thing is, I've had Eno in my team since game week 1, and I've benched him for his 2 clean sheets, which is really frustrating. But
he's starting this week.
He's not starting this week away at Chelsea now. He will be on my bench.
Who, Mikalenko?
Very shortly.
Who's starting for you, Mikalenko?
No, Mikalenko's on my bench as well.
Vandenberg.
Because I haven't got Flecken, so he's my only Bournemouth, Brentford, defender. You might talk me out of it in a second, but in the chat, let us know who your captain is.
He's a good shout. I'm fully prepped him to get a goal or something like that, a header from a corner.
Van der Berg.
Yeah, he's definitely like on my bench. So I'm prepped for him to get an attack in return.
Well, I hope so. But get a goal. But yeah, let us know who your captain is in the chat, so we can slate it. Onto the differentials. It is my week to go first. I'm going to skip over the score because you've absolutely battered me. Now it's technically going to be 3-2 to you, Matt, not 2-2. But because this game week hadn't finished, and Tavernier could have scored 7. I haven't quite updated the scores just yet. But just to talk it through, Evan Nielsen, he's got a goal for you today, so he's still playing. McNeil with a brace for. So yeah, you're getting 20+ points. I'm going
Yeah,
to be lucky if I
they've
end up on
outscored
10.
10 players in my team, haven't they? Near
Yeah,
enough.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so you pretty much won. So you're 3-2 up, and that breaks the mold because usually whoever's picked first has lost. You picked first last week and you've won.
Well,
So it's now my turn to
you
pick.
picked first and just wasted it on Duran.
I picked first. I thought I was first this week.
Oh, yeah,
I
fair
don't know.
enough. Yeah. Well, you wasted your
Yeah,
first player pick anyway on like Duran, didn't you?
I thought he was going to get a start. I
Yeah.
felt he was going to get a start, and it didn't happen. So this week I'm first, and I'm playing sensibly. I'm attacking the Arsenal fixture. They're at home to Southampton, statistically the worst defense in the league. And this guy's just come off the back of a goal and an assist, and he seems to be a guaranteed starter. I'm going with Martinelli.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, he was my first pick as well. So yeah, I would have gone there. I'll go for an Arsenal attacker as well. 2%, 2.78% owned. I'll go Trossard. I think he'll play with
Trossard.
Odegaard out still. And he got 10 points on the weekend as well, didn't he? So and
Did he get given an assist for the own goal? I think he did, didn't he? Trossard and a goal himself.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, he was on my list. I'm going to go for a player I never thought I'd ever say when he was playing for Man United, but he seems to have gone to Chelsea. There's a bit of a new lease of life. 3 games, 4 returns. Returned in every game he's played so far for them in the league. I'm going to go for Sancho.
Against the Forest
Even
defense.
against, even
Wow.
against that solid Forest, and
Wow.
that's why I'm going to bench Ada. He's going to come in. He's going to
You're
come in
big
and
on
he's
him.
going to
Yeah,
get him.
going against that Forest defense. Wow. I think I'll don't normally pick a defender, but I mean I was looking at the West Ham options. Bowen is just over the threshold. He's 5.6%. Our threshold for a differential was 5% ownership. Kudus and Paqueta, I think they're not doing anything at the moment, really. So I think I'll go for Arsenal again, target that really easy fixture. I'll go Timber. I know he's a defender, but I think really good odds of a clean sheet, maybe get some form of attacking return. He looks like he's
He
the
picks it up.
first choice at left back now. I think he's played 3 or 4 in a row. So yeah, I'm quite happy with Timber as an option.
He picks up the odd return as well, doesn't he? He does get down the wing.
I don't. Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah. Or even if a clean sheet
No,
will do you.
clean sheet. I'll be happy with, right? Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
all in on Arsenal really.
Well, in on Arsenal, so 3 Arsenal players and then 1 Chelsea player. So yeah, Martinelli and Sancho against Trossard and Timber,
Right.
and you are 3-2 up. So this will look either 4-2 or 3-3 next time we come on to it. But let's look at game week 7, Matt.
Hmm.
This is your team presently. What are your plans? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's quite obvious post the wildcard, unless something's gone seriously wrong, like red cards or injuries. Like normally you're rolling, right? So yeah, I'll have 2 free transfers going into the game week, and yeah, I'm gonna kind of roll pretty obviously. And like looking at my team is pretty solid, right? So Fleck and home to Wolves, Trent away at Palace, Gabriel Saliba at Southampton, Saka at Southampton, potentially a captaincy option. Currently my vice. Mbumo Wolves, Luis Diaz, Palace away, Semenyo, Leicester away, Solanke, Bournemouth at home, and I'm really looking forward to that. If Brighton play that high line they were playing against Chelsea, so yeah,
Get in
looking forward to
behind.
that. Haaland's my captain at Fulham, and Calvert-Lewin at home to Newcastle. We know Newcastle a different beast home versus away, and that trend is still continuing this year, right? Really, so
Yeah.
I think only decision for me really is, do I start Calvert-Lewin or Rogers? I think you've got to go Calvert-Lewin, right? And I think all the models would back me really, because Calvert-Lewin, I think he'll get more minutes, right? And he's
Yeah.
the focal point on penalties, and he's got better underlying stats than Rogers. Rogers, I think there'll be a trend where he gets kind of subbed earlier and earlier for Duran. It seems like Watkins is at fitness now, so I think Watkins will stay on more often than not, and it would be Rogers who subbed for Duran. And who knows? There might be a random start for Duran over kind of Rogers, and he isn't pulling up trees, is he, Rogers? I mean, he's positionally looking good, but he hasn't got stats that are screaming out amazing, right? So I think it's a tough one, but I think I've got to back Semenyo. Scored again, great stats, and Calvert-Lewin, a guy on penalties. And Everton are attacking quite well. Like they've been defensively poor, they're attacking quite well. So I think I've got to go out Calvert-Lewin. But that's the only decision I've got is it DCL or Rodgers? Do I start? I'm with DCL for now. So yeah, pretty boring, but like I'm looking at my team pretty happy and solid with it. So
yeah. So as long as there's nothing dodgy midweek, no injuries, you'd be
I think even with
take
injuries, I'd probably roll unless it's like a really expensive premium, right? I think I'd be happy playing if like someone's injured with a doubt and it's not out all the time. I'm happy playing Rodgers, right? Same with my defensive, I'd be happy playing with Van der Ven. So I think it'd be quite. Yeah, if Trent is injured or something like that, then I'd probably bring Gvardiol. Like, let's be honest, but like I think it'd have to be quite exceptional circumstance. Pretty straightforward for me. Pretty straightforward.
3 free transfers ahead of game week 9.
Yeah, exactly, and that's like a bit of a mini fixture swing for some teams. That's when like both. Well, I think Liverpool's fixtures look a bit more suspect. Like, so I think there's an option to do some. Like, I could move Luis Diaz to someone if I felt like. And is next week after the international? We got an international break, can we?
Yep. Again.
So yeah, lots. Yeah, again. So like lots can happen between then and obviously the guys that play in South America. There's a bit more of a risk, and Diaz you'd assume would play lots of 90 minutes like he always does for Colombia. So I could see how I'm feeling, and now got some room to play around with like a Diaz replacement. Then if I want to go down that route, so yeah, I think I'll be rolling, go for free transfers in game week 8.
I see you rolling. Spot on. If you've got any questions for Matt, fire them in because I'll go through my team and then I'll ask him the questions afterwards.
No questions for you, mate.
I'll be honest with you, mate. Questions for me as well. I'll answer them. I'll answer them as well. But listen to you more than me. Well, Ed, I'm similar, mate. I'm similar. I'm fairly happy with my starting 11 and the toss up as well. Rodgers over DCL. I've ended up putting Rodgers on, but this is where your mentorship comes in, pal. Because you're now saying about he's guaranteed minutes. Yeah, absolutely. He'll play 90 and Rodgers won't. DCL's also on penalties. Rodgers isn't. So you're making me think. And that was the whole point in this. So that might change.
I was thinking before, like we logged on. I reckon you would have had someone like Palmer on your wildcards, like, if you used the way you
without
used to
listening to you. Right, potentially. I don't know. It's hard to remember. What I'd have probably done. I'd have bought some random pick in. I don't know whether I'd have picked Palmer. Jota. So I thought I did. You know what? That could have happened because I ended up getting Diaz in and was like, well, for 0.3 million less, I could get Jota. And he's still going to play up front. Didn't end up doing it, but I could have very easily done it.
I reckon I'm hindering you a bit.
Nah, not at all.
Stay true to that. Stay true to that, mate. I'd
I'm quite happy with you. Either on the pitch. I mean, he's my third bench and he's not moving from it. I'm quite happy with the team, if I'm honest. You know, I've got 15 players, so 14. Forget Fabianski, but I've got 14 players that are all starters for their teams. You know, the defense fairly happy with that. And I bought Edison in for game week 7 onwards. He's at home to Fulham, Gabriel Southampton, Van der Berg's are home to the bottom of the table. And I'm going to be playing Trent every game, right? And yeah, same as you. It just feel boring, doesn't it, when you roll? But like, you know, what am I going to do? I've got Saka and Havertz at home to Southampton, who are conceding left, right, and centre. Diaz is on form, and Mbumo's on form, Semenyo's on form, Rodgers or DCL. I've got nice home fixtures. Haaland. Like I've nowhere to move, so I'm with you, man. Unless I have an injury, like a bad injury, I'm just going to roll it. It seems the sensible option.
Your team's looking better. I think that Havertz at home to Southampton is going to a real hot pick. I'd rather have Van der Berg, and Havertz versus who have I got? I've got Saliba and I think your team's looking better.
I know it'd be Saliba and Solanke.
Yeah, I I think you're looking, and you got Edison in goal, so I got Flecken in goal. I reckon your team is looking better next week, but I think that's the week you need Havertz to go off.
Yeah,
Because
agree.
then it's like
Absolutely agree.
the attacking, the fixture from an attacking point of view, they do tail off, mate. Because then you got Bournemouth away, and I think it's a Liverpool game week 9. So I think
Yeah.
your team's looking good, but I think there's big. He could come out with a monster haul, can he? Havertz against Southampton. They're
Hope
that
so.
bad, but that's the game you need him to go off.
Yeah. It was it. It was these two. When it was eyeing up in more Watkins, I was thinking away at Ipswich, a home to United, or a home to Leicester, a home to Southampton. I needed him to go off, and he got 6, which is fine. But yeah, I need him to get two returns this week, I think. But yeah, probably
That's looking
like
at your
you, going to
team.
roll. Yeah, I am happy with it. I am happy with it. I know I was saying it's hard to be positive, but no, I am fairly happy with it. But we do have some questions before we close.
Yeah.
So our mate Thomas Jones been with us since day one. As Thomas, thanks for tuning in, mate. Question for both: beyond going with Saka, Palmer, and Bumo, who would you go for in your midfield? So pick 2 of these. Your best mate, Brennan Johnson, who I know you're a big fan of. So Brennan Johnson,
Am I?
Bowen, or both.
I like correcting you, like his name. I think you spent like a year and a half calling him Brendan or Brandon, but yeah, Brendan. But that's a good question, and kind of nice to see you listening, Thomas, mate. I like Bowen. I think West Ham had really tough first 6 game weeks. I think had 2 attacking returns, so not great, but he's done enough, and I think there's just that history of he's put up great performances right for 3 seasons now, Bowen. So I think he's a really good option, and like I'm probably genuinely considering him as a Luis Diaz replacement in game week 9. So I'd go Bowen. I think with Johnson, he's an interesting one, right? Because I think like you toyed with him back into last season, didn't you? And like you looked at the stats, they were really good. He was getting some good performances. I think it's just the underlying doubt: is he good enough, and will he play every game? I think the answer is yes.
It seems to be now, and he's put. I can't remember the last game he didn't get an attack and return.
No, exactly. I think he's had like 3 or 4 in a row. But yeah, I think it's just the history. It's the kind of like I think the fixtures are there for West Ham. Bowen is the main man, and he just kind of like has put up great underlying stats and output for like 3 seasons plus, right? Whereas like Johnson is like what a sample size of half a season. Like so, yeah. Like, what about you, mate?
Yeah.
I know you're John. I've never owned Johnson in fantasy football. Yeah, Bowen.
I do like him, but you've taught me, man. You've taught me. Guaranteed minutes, 90 minutes, and Bowen's a penalty taker. So as
Is
a
he?
result, I'd go Bowen. Bowen's a West Ham penalty taker, is he not?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure, but
Is he not? I don't know who else it'd be. Paqueta, maybe.
I swear someone else has taken the last penalty there. That wasn't.
Somebody will tell us. Somebody will tell us in the chat. Johnson definitely isn't a penalty
No,
taker,
of course,
so
yeah.
I'd go that way. Out of interest, though,
different prices, though,
Thomas
aren't they?
Jones is
They're different price
yeah.
points, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd view them as in different brackets, really. So Johnson, yeah, obviously he's sub 7 mil, isn't he? And then he's 6.5 and Bowen 7.5. So they're slightly different brackets. So maybe it's a bit of an unfair comparison. I think the 1 million price point is illustrative and fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is going to be his 5 midfield, Thomas's, because he's played as wildcard. No Salah, no Haaland. He's gone Solanke and Watkins up front. He's also thrown in a personal question, which is probably the biggest question we've ever been asked since doing this, and this is episode 51. What is your ultimate meal deal from Tesco?
I'm a sucker for just like, I know it's like a false economy because there's ups the prices, but I want to kind of maximize the price of the individual items, right? So at the moment, it's like, and again, yeah, sucker for marketing because I know these things isn't really true, but it'll be like a protein kitchen, a katsu curry wrap, nice then it'll be
Proper expensive.
probably a YouFit protein shake, like a protein bar. Not because I'm trying to get
Meant to be £27, £3.50.
No, exactly. I just like seeing. I just like seeing it like £9.50 and it goes down to £3.50. my classic one would just be like knowing like that would be BLT McCoy's flame grilled steak. Gotta be that. Love the crunch.
Okay.
And then probably maybe a monster, no.
Monster. So Thomas is also a BLT man. BLT,
Yeah.
salted Walkers, and Pepsi Max for Thomas. I'm not far off. Chicken and bacon. I'm a big fan of chicken and bacon, so I'd probably do that on my sandwich. I
It's
am then
dry,
also
man.
McCoy's. Yeah, like a chicken and bacon wrap sometimes if I want a bit of
Yeah.
bit of a change. The McCoy's, I agree with. The flavour, I don't. I am king prawn cocktail McCoy's. They are delicious. And then drink Dr Pepper. I think is where I'm at.
Yeah, nice.
The worst that could happen. But
I
that
just
is
think
that. I think that's one of the best questions we've ever been asked.
I think we've probably given the most detailed answers as well, right? So shows where
We
our
might not
interest.
know FPL, but we know McCoy's crisps. That's
I think it
what
was.
rarely counts.
I think it was like that episode when we started talking about films. That was like probably the most engaging we've been. Like that's the most interesting I found you.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
What? No, you
Um,
didn't know it was a film buff.
but it's but at least you knew the names of films. I had to kind of try and describe them in really kind of like bad terms, and then you had to guess the names of them. So yeah, a little bit better than me. But like I mean, yeah, that fifth the kind of mid back to the FPL question. Like if I would be, I reckon getting Johnson as a midfielder you're starting, especially when I've got not a rotating forward. I'm not stretching getting Johnson there personally, right? I do reckon in that price point, I'd favour Eze in that price
Johnson.
point. I mean, maybe even Anthony Gordon. Newcastle got mixed fixtures coming up. They've had their tough ones. They have mixed ones. I like Rogers. I like Semenyo. I think Madison is Madison for $1 million more. I don't know. I wouldn't at that price point. I think could be. That's just a bit risky with the minutes. What's he played this year? I'm gonna bring him up on FPL now just to see.
Go on, find out. Find out whilst I just read. It's the most we've had from any question. This meal deal. John Stewart's come in. Combination chicken and malted bread has to be malted bread. A banana and maybe a pepperoni. Salt and vinegar squares as his crisps and a Lucozade orange. That's more than a meal deal, John, but we'll let you off.
Lucozade Orange is like if it's a sport, that's a good little bet in it. That's a good little bet.
Yeah.
Childhood memories, that a little 39p spa fake one. That's
A blue bear. Is that what they're called? In the spa? No, I'm thinking of Red Bull. I'm thinking of Red Bull rip-offs. Ignore me. Yeah, I was thinking that doesn't sound right. Well, yeah, I don't know. So you look like you're looking up how many minutes Brendan Johnson. Brendan's been playing.
Well, he's started every game.
Yeah.
So
he's been
he's
been performing.
Expected goal involvement per
Been stung by
90.61. Yeah, he's been doing all right actually. So what do we know?
Would you still go Eze now you've seen the stats?
Yeah, probably. He's got nice fixtures though. Brighton, West Ham, Palace, Villa, Ipswich, City, Fulham, Bournemouth. That Chelsea. That's a nice long-term run.
Yeah.
But you do want him to play every game, right? So I guess just how certain you are.
Keep your eye on that. Well, at that point, I'm going to bring it to a close because we wanted to do under an hour, and I think we're going to achieve it, mate. We are going to achieve it. We're on 54 something, so all that's left to do is thank you for your time, Matt. I wish you the best with the week. We'll be back next week, which will be an international break. So probably with a shortened version, just recapping game week 7. But you expecting much this game week? Looking at your team, and are you happy with it? You expecting a decent return?
There's got to be in it. Yeah. Like both our teams are really solid.
Yeah.
I think Havertz for me is the risk, of course, but like I think fair play for you owning him. Watkins could damage as well. Man United at home, that could be a a battering, really, based on where both the teams are. Salah, like again, he's a risk for non-owners. You'd like to think he'd be a bit. It's Palace away. That's not an ideal fixture, and like, yeah, captaincy is going to be dominated by Haaland, surely, right? So,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
And then, like,
Snap.
I feel it'd be good to see, where we are average those 2 game weeks, right? So we're not taking it too rash.
Yeah,
right?
exactly that.
An
Exactly
above
that.
average
As you say,
game week.
wildcards for Christmas.
Yeah, but above
Which-
average game week coming up now will mean Overwatch's been all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I messed up my metaphor there. I was meant to say a wildcard isn't just for Christmas. Before I go, and we'll be under the hour. It's 3-1, by the way, so Kirk has his clean sheet's gone.
Good.
Do you think is Salah a differential captain? That's the last question I'm going to ask you. That's coming from Repent Master.
Yeah, he is a differential captain.
Why
you'd want to go there?
If you had him, okay, that's the answer. That's the answer. Yes, he is. But why would you? If you haven't got a Haaland and you've got a Saka, would you rather go Saka or Salah?
That's Saka, isn't it? Yeah.
Saka. Okay. So would Salah be your
Easy.
third choice?
I'd go Havertz. I'd go Palmer. Like, yeah. Okay. I think he's barely touching my top 5.
There you go. Okay, so yes, he is, but there's better picks. There you go. Nice and easy. That's sorted.
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah, I don't think he's been amazing.
Yeah, I think are you back?
Yeah.
No, he's been all right. He's still producing, but yeah, I don't think away at Palace is as easy as some of the other fixtures on the board. So yeah, I think I'd stay clear of him as well. But we'll go. Otherwise, we're going to break an hour, and that is not what we want to do. So Matt, as always, thank you for being with us. We'll pick up with you next week. All the best with the game week up and coming, mate.
No, my pleasure. Yeah, good luck to you, and good luck to everyone listening as well. Fingers crossed for it to be a better one. Or a continuation of your good week for lots of people in the mini league. We're smashing it, right?
Yeah. But we need to get ourselves into the top 10. So let's just be selfish for a bit. But thank you for you, the listener, for joining us. If you are in our mini league, I hope you have an absolutely terrible game week. For anybody else listening that isn't in the mini league, but why aren't you in it? Get joining in. The league code was 1 minute like 10 or something. You'll find it. But thank you for joining us, taking your Monday evening. We are closing in, Matt, on 1,000 subscribers. So if you are listening and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It does help us out. It's free to do, and it just means other people can find us as well. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week. Look forward to game week 7 before the stupid international break. May your hours be green.